Hello, you guys. Welcome to this week's episode of the Expand and Evolve podcast. I'm your host, Carly Pynchon. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for joining. I am really excited to record this episode. I feel, for those of you who are joining, I'm going to be talking about a medicine ceremony I did this week, and we worked with psilocybin. And I feel like the value of this, regardless of the fact if you're like you've never done plant medicine before, is takeaways that I have from this you can apply to your life. And I just honestly, if you guys have been following along, okay. I was at Awaken, and then I was at a financial intensive, and then I did this journey. And so I basically was in a week of very deep inner work, inner reflection. And maybe it was all of that combined. And that's why I'm feeling so not done with the healing journey, but I truly feel like I'm at a place where in this season right now, it's going to be more about integration and just trusting myself. And I don't think there's anything left at this current point to dive deeper into. And for those of you who may be just embarking on your healing journey or are not even sure what a healing journey is or haven't really dove into much personal growth work yet, I just want to say this is a journey. Obviously, life is the journey, right? Like you go through life, there's going to be different things are going to pop up. Once I get in a relationship, I'm sure different things are going to be activated that I can't really bring awareness to on my own. And I think that that's just something that's important to remember if you are in a single season, or even if you are within your own relationship. Like relationship brings so much value to start to really bring awareness to things that you may not be aware of in your current life. Like when you're alone, there's nothing to trigger you. So when you get into a relationship, there's likely going to be new things that are going to be brought to my awareness. Like, oh crap, there's still this thing within you that you might need to work through. And you now have a partner to be able to do that with. Does this make sense? So despite that, the point I'm saying this for is because back in 2021 is when I really started diving deep into introspection, personal growth, doing the work, what you could say, right? And I mean, I embarked on my spiritual or like inner growth journey back when I was 21 years old. I'm now 32, but I feel like I really dove in hard since 2021 and now it's 2024. So for 3 years straight, I feel like I've been making therapy a priority, somatic work a priority, breath work a priority, diving into as much as I possibly can to understand about how we store trauma and emotion within our body and like how I can release that and what I might be storing and where my childhood wounds are, my inner child, and like connecting with that and connecting with all the past hurts that I never felt and releasing them. And so I'm telling you this because over the last 3 years, I've gone really hard, really heavy into this work. And obviously, you've never just arrived or made it. I feel like there's a journey. But at this moment right now, and because of this journey and the lessons I'm going to share with you, I feel like there's actually nothing I really need to quote unquote work on or release at this moment in time. And it almost feels like a cycle of completion. Like I kind of knew, and if you guys followed me on Instagram, I said like I wasn't going to do this journey because I didn't feel that I needed it. Like there was nothing I was really needing, but I was like, you know what? You never know. Let's just do this as a final, like, see where I'm at. If there's anything still, residual that's lingering that I'm not aware of, and let's see what it has to show me. And basically, I went in with the intention of knowing the truth of who I am. So I just basically said, show me the truth of who I am and the purpose of my life. To truly know and trust my authentic self, I wanted kind of a confirmation that I'm in a place where I really am who I think I am and that I can fully trust who and what I believe. And then I also said, show me anything that's been in the way of being ready to unite with my future husband to create that sacred union, because I really feel like my journey right now is like, is there anything holding me back from the love that I know I want to create and the relationship I know I want to create in the future? So these were my intentions. And if you get really clear with your intentions in ceremony and a journey, you're going to get that right back to you, right? And so I'm going to take you guys through exactly what showed up for me in my journey. I'm going to try to just remember rather than read because I think it's more powerful. and just kind of share with you guys my key takeaways from this. And I'm also going to do a different episode regarding the financial intensive and a different one from Awaken, because different things showed up in my breathwork sessions and takeaways even from that Awaken than this journey specifically. But for the sake of time, I'm just going to take you through this one. And I have not shared about this yet really with anybody. So you guys are always my safe place of where I just like put it all out there. And for those of you who might be like, this is a little bit woo woo, what is she talking about? This journey thing, plant medicine thing. Just know that I truly believe if you're someone who can't get out of your mind, and you may not even realize that you're living in your mind, but you're always thinking and you're always going really fast and you're always doing stuff, and you have a really hard time being still, plant medicine can be the thing that helps you get out of that state so that you can really go inward. If you can't get there through breath work, I would recommend plant medicine. If you have severe trauma that you haven't been able to really truly work through, I would recommend plant medicine. It just can be so freaking powerful. Like witnessing people who have really deep trauma and being able to release that, start to find themselves and drop certain things that they've been holding on to their entire lives is so beautiful. And for me personally, this journey, I'll just start you guys from exactly how it started. Okay. So we get in there, we ate the mushrooms, psilocybin is what we worked with. And you drink this ginger tea, you lay down, and I melted into that mat, you guys, and barely moved for probably 5 or 6 hours. When they started trying to pull us out of this ceremony, I was like, there's no way. I'm not ready yet. I was still so in it. And basically what happens is like they start playing music. You're just laying there. You're kind of in a meditative state is how I would say. Obviously, if you've done like a microdose or something and then gone and interacted with people, completely different experience than if you blindfold yourself, lay on a mat, and let it take you where it wants to take you. And so I always just fully surrendered to, yes, I set intentions, but like, show me what you want to show me. And I always also surrendered to the medicine because I'm like, I'm working with you. You are part of the earth, and the earth could have a different mission for what it wants from me. And so I always just kind of surrender to the medicine and say, like, show me what you want from me. Like, yes, these are my intentions, but also if there's something you want to show me that can better impact this world and this planet and humanity, feel free to show me that too, because I will take that responsibility on, and I take it really seriously. So anyway, so that's kind of what I always say to the medicine, like, hold it up here, you eat it, you bless it, and then let it do what it wants to do to your body. And I was frozen into this mat, you guys, for hours. Aside from, again, I'll get into it, but I was like, if you guys are watching me, I could feel like I was in a cocoon. Okay, I'm like, where do I start? But I could feel it, and it was like my butterfly wings through the whole journey were trying to activate. And this is where I feel like this journey was so beautiful, because it truly felt, I feel like I'm going to cry. Like a cycle of completion to this last 3 years of my life, and like working through all I've worked through, the healing, the separation, just so much change, and trying to trust myself and know, like, can I really trust myself? Am I making the right decisions? And I feel like this was showing me my body as basically a cocoon, and me literally like a butterfly flapping my wings while I was, in journey on the mat, like until the end. And then my arms started to fully come out, and then they wanted to like dance and move and do all these things. And I was just like moving with the music. But I did this, you guys, almost the whole journey. And if you know anything about butterflies, wow, oh my God, this is crazy, because I just had this realization through through these last 3 years, when I would ask God, universe, source, whatever, ask for signs. When I would go on my walks, and I've talked about this, how the trails and nature were like my safe place to help me process emotions when I was going through the really heavy stuff. The butterfly was always my sign. And I just realized how that relates to everything I went through in this journey. But the butterfly was always my sign. And so when I'd want to know, like, please just give me confirmation. Like, am I on the right path? Am I moving towards the right things? Like, am I doing the right thing? And I would always be shown a butterfly, no matter what the question was, what I was going through. That was always my sign of confirmation. Like, okay, they're here. We've got you. Whether you believe in angels, spirit guides, support, God, it doesn't matter. It's all one bigger thing outside of us as, 3D human beings. And I just realized that, like, I went through, that was my butterfly, like, leading me the whole time. And I became the butterfly in this journey. And I don't know why that just made me so emotional, but I realized how truly they always say with a butterfly, if you were to cut open their cocoon, they would not become the butterfly they're meant to be. They die. And part of becoming, I feel like, who I was meant to be and what I meant to do in this world is like I had to go through this season of a lot of hard, a lot of pain, a lot of navigating things that I've been through in my life and feeling them all and going through the hard and going into it. And then this emotion that I kept having happen, I feel like was showing me, because it did. It took me through my whole life and showed me all the ways that, if you guys have heard any of my previous podcasts, I've talked about one of my journeys showed me all the ways I self-abandoned in my life. This one showed me all the ways that I was always there for myself, that I was protecting myself, that I was making the best decisions that I could with the knowledge that I had at the time. And the way that I've shown up for myself my entire life. And I didn't just self-abandon all the time. Like I really was there for myself, protected my energy, and did the best I could all of the time. And anyway, so it was showing me, like taking me through my life. And then by the end, it's like my butterfly wings had, like I had done the hard work. I had gone through the hard. I had built up the strength in order to now spread my wings and fly. And I feel like it was just showing me the end of a completion cycle, which was really beautiful. And it started by showing me, of course, it was 11/11 when I had said that, but it really just took me through, if you guys believe in past lives or not. It showed me, like it started when I finally came into it. This woman on my left-hand side bent over a body, and that body was me. And I was young, like I was a child, I feel like, when I died, in the life right before I came here. So whatever purpose that was, I don't really know. It didn't take me into that. Like I had it felt like sisters guiding me through this experience. And I'd be like, hold on. Like, I need to stay here. Like, what's going on? They're like, no, it's not important. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, okay, you had a past life. No big deal. Then you came here because they're like, we only have so much time with you. We need to take you through everything as quick as we can. And every time I do a journey, it's like I have all of these ancestors, spirit guides, angels, whatever around me. And they're so excited to see me. And they're like, okay, you're here. And then everyone's like, wait, give her a sec. Like she's coming back to consciousness. It's like a different life. Okay. And it's like you're coming back to your family, but away from this life, you're with a different family, and they're so excited to connect with you and see you. And what it really showed me was your ancestors and your spirit guides are always there. You just need to find a way to connect with them. And sometimes plant medicine is the thing that shows you that they're always around and always there. It's just kind of your connector, because I find it really hard to see it like that in normal life. But I feel like now, because I've done plant medicine and I can almost connect to that same realm through breath work, I can get there and connect with them. And I feel like I'm literally building a relationship with these people, you guys, who are not quote unquote real people, but their souls are real, and we're 1000% connected. And so anyways, I get up there. I say up there because that's what it feels like. I'm like floating in space. And they're like, okay, we're so excited you're here. Like, we have so much to show you. And I'm like, slow down. Like, there's a woman right here over body. Is that me? Like, what the hell is going on? And then all they show is my soul basically like seeing my two parents and being like, yep, them, that's where I'm going. Shoom. Basically on mission. And I think for some of us, this is another thing I realized is part of my life that I was almost feeling bad about for a little while was I'm always there to help people. Like I'm always there to be the quote unquote fixer. And I realized that that's part of my life's mission. So I don't need to feel bad about the fact that I always pop up into people's lives and I help them grow and evolve, and I'm willing to help them and quote unquote fix them and encourage them to work towards becoming their highest self. I do realize that's not actually a bad thing. That's what I came to this earth to do. And so there is, of course, there's ways that you can kind of escape yourself or detach from yourself, or what's it called? What's the right word for this? I'm having trouble with English. This on my journey too. Like the things you see and hear are so vivid, and to come and try to explain it in English words can be really difficult. But like disassociate or almost distract yourself from your own shit. Like, of course, there's people who, and I used to do this too, like rather than feeling my own pain or dealing with my own stuff, I'd rather deal with everybody else's. That's different than like truly being here to also support other people on their journey. And so it showed me basically picking my parents and being like, yep, them, that's where I'm going. Perfect. And me basically just like, whoop, boom, like plopping in to this earth to be with them. And so whatever you believe around souls, I was shown basically how these bodies that we have are our homes. And we think of our home like where we live, right? But your body is your home that houses your soul. And your soul is something that gets to be in this body and in this experience to feel and to help others heal and to connect and do all these things that as a soul you can't do while you're really floating in space. Like you don't have the body to feel, but that we have these bodies here. And if you started seeing it like your home and you started treating it the same way that you want your house to be clean and organized, treating your body that same way and understanding that this is what your soul has chosen to inhabit is this body. Your body is what gives you the experience on this earth. And so to start respecting it and treating it with so much love and respect and honoring it. And I feel like I've been on this path this last few months where I keep saying, like, I feel like I'm being called to purify. And I finally get it now, because it's like ultimately when you start elevating to higher levels of consciousness, that's now the frequency that's within your body. Okay, well, as you get higher, you can't tolerate toxic shit anymore. The same way that I don't really vibe on a frequency that's going to be around toxicity in terms of people that come into my life, I also can't vibe with toxic food and toxic ingredients. Like I used to be able to tolerate it at a pretty high level, and now I literally can't. Like if I don't keep things super clean, I'm breaking out in acne, I'm having rashes, I'm feeling extremely swollen, inflamed, and bloated within a day. Like I'm not kidding. If I eat junk within a day, I have like 10 pounds of inflammation. And then it takes me days and days and days to drop that again. And yeah, there could be something else going on internally, but I truly believe that it's part of this process of as you elevate in frequency and you elevate your life, you no longer can tolerate toxic shit. And so I was just shown in this how we kind of hop in these bodies as souls, we inhabit these bodies, and we need to treat them with so much respect. We've been brainwashed on this planet to think of our bodies as like what they look like and how they appear to the outside world. And we're so obsessed with the way that they look, and we're like attached. I just kept touching him like, why are we so attached to this? We don't need to be attached to this body or how it looks. Like it's just here to help us live this life. And so, yeah, we should care about it. We should nourish it. We should nurture it. We should be so kind to it and love it because it gives us this experience to live this life. But I think for so many of us, we've been so disconnected from our bodies in the sense of it's scary to feel. So a lot of us left our bodies because it was too scary to feel. I know I did that. I felt for years it was too scary to come back in my body and feel. So I disassociated, I disconnected, and I would basically hang out up here. And I wouldn't be in my body and have to feel the feelings, whether it's pain, sadness, happiness, joy. Like if you disassociate and disconnect from your body because you don't want to feel the hard feelings, you also can't feel the good feelings, and you can't fully feel love. You can't fully receive it. And so the only way to receive that and really feel any of the good things you want to feel, like joy and love and all of those things, is to be within your body and also feel when pain shows up, sadness comes up, loneliness shows up, grief comes up. Like you have to be willing to feel all of it. And it was just showing me how like the attachment to these bodies and like how our arms look or our boobs look or our butts look, like that's disconnecting us from the real purpose of what these bodies are here to do. And it was also showing me, like it sent me back, it always does this, but like throws me way back to the beginning of time. And it was showing me how humans are really sick right now, and not sick with like a disease, sick with the frequency of fear and like just, I don't know, like almost as if disease and virus has been spread through people, but through our mouths, through like words and through the things that we believe. And it's almost like this fear, icky, like it was showing me people's eyes like glazed over and people just looking almost like zombies, looking sick. And not just like, okay, they're sick with a heart disease, sick in terms of their cells and their bodies are sick because they don't understand love. They don't understand what they're doing here. They don't have a connection to God. They don't have a connection to purpose. And almost like the way I could see it as an example is, okay, let's take pornography, for example, or sexual abuse, or people who use their power to belittle people. Or it even showed me how women, grandmas that don't have love within themselves, almost suck it out like a vacuum from other people. There was one moment that it showed me in my past where this was happening in a certain family member, and I could feel everything was wrong and the baby wouldn't stop crying. My cousin wouldn't stop crying. And I was like, I must have been 10. And I felt so compelled to go grab him and like hold him and love him. And what it showed me in this journey was how many people are so empty inside that they literally suck the energy like vampires out of other human beings. And even some of our mothers, fathers, grandparents did this to us and have done it to other people. And it's been happening for generations where they're so empty and disconnected within themselves that they try to take that energy and love out of other human beings. And you could apply this to your own life. Think of how generational trauma kind of happens, right? Where one person was sexually abused by someone who was already sick. Like things are not right for someone if they're willing to do that to another body. And typically what happens is the person was sexually abused and then that person goes and sexually abuses someone else and someone else and someone else. Or somebody gets addicted to drugs or pornography or different things like that. And then because of that sickness that's happening within their body and their brain, which all comes from lack of love, disconnection, and zero peace within them. Because think about it. If you truly were connected to your heart and felt love, like really felt that peace and that love and that joy that comes when you're connected to God, source, higher power, and your own heart, you're not going to need a substance to escape. You're not going to be watching pornography. You're going to see the frequency of all of that and be like, ew. You're going to see your body as this temple that like you're not willing to let any of that stuff in to mess with your own frequency. And so it was showing me how disease has taken over, disease, not like the sicknesses we think about in a hospital setting, but it's infiltrated people's minds and bodies through the frequencies of guilt, shame, fear. And like, it just showed me that imagery of people being sick. And it also showed me how we all used to just be naked and no one had to worry about covering their body or covering their face or covering their boobs or covering their butts or anything. Like it just showed me an image of us in the jungle butt naked because bodies were not sexualized. Sexual energy is what's sexual. It's not the body. But we've sexualized bodies so much through marketing and media that we now feel like bodies are sexual, and people are sexualizing themselves, right? All over social media, we see it all the time. But it was just showing me how no one needed to stay covered to avoid a man like seeing you as sexual and wanting to get intimate with you. Like that wasn't a thing. It was an energy pull between two people who it was a sacred exchange when and if sexual energy was ever shared. But it wasn't something that you needed to like hide your body from because it's not a body thing. That's an energy thing that comes from the inside. And it was showing me like how two hearts basically pulled together. And that's what energizes that exchange, not a body and some boobs. But we've been so flipped to like think of our bodies as sexual. And so because of that, so many people are sharing their quote unquote sexual energy through having sex and just thinking it's like body to body, smack, smack, smack. And there's not actually the heart exchange that should be leading any sexual exchange that ever happens. And so it was just showing me how we used to be so safe to be naked because no one was sexualizing anybody unless it made sense for those people to be in an energy exchange. Does this make sense? Maybe. And so we've come so far from that like we have to be mindful in how we wear, and like men want to take and see women as objects to like use and take. That never used to be a thing. That wasn't something that happened. And so because there's been such a shift, of course, women don't trust men and women are afraid. And there's been a lot of different stuff that's happened where women do feel used. But unfortunately, in that, men are also super disconnected from themselves and they're never going to feel fulfilled. Because it's like sex isn't just something that you just take and do and conquer these women and have, and then that's it and just discard of them. No matter what, both parties are going to feel empty from that. And it's not moving you to a frequency of love or joy or peace when you're doing any of that. Typically, it's going to leave you in a feeling of like guilt, shame, fear, disconnect, and just such a disconnection from your heart. And so anyways, it pretty much took me through that, like showing me how illness and sickness has infiltrated most human beings. And the only way through that and to kind of cure that is by individually doing the work to connect back to your heart. And when you can find your way there, truly, you cure that dis-ease within yourself. And then that frequency that you have within you, you share with other people. And you can obviously like you put that into your kids. And so we really can heal this planet by ultimately focusing on how do you reconnect with your heart and yourself and clear out anything that is low vibe frequency within your own life. And then by doing that, it will impact people around you, but most importantly, your kids. And so the next generation of kids that grow up, they're not going to have all this crazy, weird stuff and disease within them because we're feeling fulfilled within us and we're no longer taking from our kids or thinking that we have authority or power over our kids. Like they're sovereign beings that we're here to just love. And I was going to make a reel about this, but if you're a mother and you are loving on your child, like true love, not out of a need or a take, or like they give you all of your purpose and fulfillment and you're just taking that energy and like getting your love sourced from them, but you truly are giving love to them with like no expectation in return, that you are doing some of the most important work on this planet. Because if your kids grow up feeling and understanding what true love feels like we can change the freaking world through doing that. And it was just, I was talking to my kids this morning and I was like, I'm like, what do you think? Like, do you think I love you? And they were like, yeah. And they just couldn't imagine it being any other way. But when you go to these events, you see how many people never felt love from their parents. They never felt like their needs were met. They never felt like they were loved. They never felt the way that children should feel from their parents. And so if you're a mother or a father and you're giving your kids that true unconditional love, like you are giving the most powerful thing on this planet. Yes, money is great. Experiences are great. All of that's great. But honestly, the most important thing is giving just unconditional love to your kids. Like that's going to make the biggest impact in their lives and on this planet than anything else. So if you're doing that and you're doing that every day, like understand you're doing some of the most important work that you ever could on this planet by giving that to your children. Okay. So then, sorry, my throat. Okay, I already talked about this, but how it showed me my past life and basically jumping out of that body into the body that I'm in. I asked, to see the truth of who I am. And I already talked about this, like how people used to be sick and all the sickness that's within people. How parents do this by trying to get their needs met from their kids. Okay. Yeah, I already said this. The sister's so excited to take me through everything. Keep your body clean because it's basically like your house. So keep it organized and honor it. I also showed me how we choose our lives and our paths. So just to give trust to the fact that where you are in your life right now, you likely need to be. And even if it's hard, you likely chose it in order to go through the things necessary to get you to a place of wherever you need to be in order to impact others. And if you really believe that, then you can know that even in the hard seasons and even in the deepest struggles, you're going through it to learn a lesson, and it's on purpose to guide you back to your highest self or like reconnect you to your heart. So over these last 3 years, all the pain, all the sadness, all the crying, all the disconnection through my life, all the pain things that have happened in my life, really understanding that at this point right now, I could not relate with other human beings and I could not do the work or impact other people had I not gone through all those things. So whether it be like sexual abuse, being cheated on, being part of abusive relationships, like having, going through a separation, having children and having to choose to quote unquote divorce, like all of these different things that I've had to navigate, I couldn't impact and have conversations and relate with other people and give them the hope that like you can work through it, you can heal through it, and you can come out on the other side better than ever had I not gone through those things. So just trust that. And then this part was so, I honestly just feel in this place of just peace, like undeniable peace and bliss that I don't know the last time I felt in a way that I don't feel like there's anything else that I have to like work on or heal or do any of that. It's like now I just get to be here and integrate it and embody it. And it showed me helping other women, like me holding space for other women who still need to go through this process. So that showed me I need to keep doing women's circles to create a safe space for the women who haven't purged out all of the emotion, who haven't identified that they have sexual abuse trauma sitting within their bodies, those who have a lot of pain and have never felt or have been disconnected from their bodies, like to hold space as they feel it, cry it out, scream it out, puke it out, whatever, just like to hold space for the women who still need to do that. Because ultimately the only way to reconnect to ourselves and make a massive impact on this planet is women to become and reconnect to the divine feminine within, which is reconnecting to your heart, which is the source of all things and allows you to create life from a different place and a different energy. And in turn, like, what was I just going to say? You guys, words are still really hard. I forget. When you're reconnected to your heart, just the impact that you have on this planet. Ultimately, that's what it is. It's like for humanity to shift and things to change, it comes from women reconnecting to their hearts first. And we can want our men to grow and evolve and change and like get on this train of soul evolution. But really, in everything that I've learned, it's kind of shown me that men are getting there. They are, but women need to reconnect to their hearts first. And that even from hundreds and thousands of years ago, that was the leading charge of all things. Like, women were connected to their hearts and their intuition, and we provided so much guidance for people and humanity. And ultimately, in this last, couple thousand years, it's been men. And that's nothing wrong with that. But like when decisions are made strictly from up here, and decisions are made for profit, and they're not connected to this earth, which is the heart. I don't know if you guys know this, but like they say father sky, which is, you can think of like the masculine and mind. So masculine mind, father sky, and then mother earth, the goddess is the earth. And so understanding that, yes, there's a god and a goddess. It would be absolutely insane to think that there's only one male god and that it's not also equal parts female. Like, how do we create life? We can't do it without the egg and the sperm. Like, we need both. And so it basically just understanding that we really needed to reconnect to our hearts and reconnect to this earth and the pulse of that in order to now match with the mind and the thought and bring those two things together. And so part in life is reconnecting to your heart in order to do that, even within your own life. And so what else was I just going to say? Yeah, it basically showed me, because I also asked to like see the sacred union and husband kind of thing. And I was like, do I really care about that? I don't know. But what it showed me was that as you evolve and change and grow and become closer and closer to the truest version of you, which it did also show me. So that was my intention, was like, show me the truth of who I am. And it was like, you've known who you are. You know who you are. You just need to trust it. And all the things in your life where you've not trusted it, you've had to learn lessons that way. But, oh my gosh, sorry. I'm just going to cough for a sec. Basically showing me all the ways that when I was self-abandoning, it was because I knew, but I didn't honor what I knew. And so if I don't honor what I know, there's always a lesson behind it. And it was trying to bring me back to trusting my gut instinct, trusting my first intuition on things, like just trusting myself. And then also knowing that who I am right now is who I am. It's who I've always been. And so to just trust that and embody it and understand that I don't need to be anybody else, or I don't need to shift how I operate or how I function. Like, this is who I am. And that's your superpower. It's being exactly who you are. And it basically showed me when I was trying to see my husband. If you guys remember one of my last journeys, he was there and I was like, I need you to come find me. And he was like, I'm right here. I've been here the whole time. And like was so high energy and magnetic. And in this one, it basically, the only way I can explain it was like, I was standing in front of him. He was behind me, super tall, broad chested, and like almost creating a barricade of safe space around me. I can't even explain it. Like, think of it like a massive bubble that was creating this protection around me of like, go walk through life. This is what he said to me, basically, like, go walk through life like the queen that you are, continue to build your queendom, and know that I'm right here and I've been right here. I'm right behind you. And I'm holding space for you and I'm protecting you. So go through life and understand there's going to be a lot of people that when you start to embrace this, and this was when like the butterfly thing was happening, he was like, when you start to embrace this energy of the truth of who you are, now that you know who you are, and you start walking through life like the queen that you are meant to be, because he's like, you are my queen. So whatever this meaning is, I don't really know, whether it's physically him or it's just showing me masculine, feminine, and it's just, giving me a depiction imagery. But it basically was like, as you start continuing to walk through life and now you really step into your power, like the queen that you are meant to be, trust that there's going to be lots of people who want to take from you and take your energy. And you need to continue to remember this barrier that I just put around you, to not let them. And not that, this is another thing, like in spirituality, they'll say like, there is no separation, we're all one. And it showed me very clearly, no, there needs to be separation, because there's people who are not at the same frequency that, like I said earlier, are the energy vampires that will try to take from you because they want what you have, but they haven't yet done the work to just get there within them. And so they'd rather try to take that out of you and basically extract that energy from you for themselves. And so he was basically saying, like, you need to keep this protective barrier around you at all times. Trust that as you walk through life, like the queen that you are, people are going to try to take that energy from you. And you need to show up and protect yourself and understand that not everyone gets access to you. As much as you care and you love others, like there needs to be some boundaries and some barriers so that not everyone can take from you. And I kind of had that week prior, had this feeling like we're so close to connecting that he basically was like, protect her from all men who are not worthy. I can't even explain it, you guys. This probably sounds absolutely nuts, but I truly felt it. And I was like, this is why all these other people that I've like even considered dating, it's like he's the whole time, there's been boundaries and walls that always show up to keep us from each other. And the only way I can explain it, I swear, is like, whether you think it's divine protection or not, I can feel his presence is so unbelievably powerful that he's like, no, protect her. Don't let any of these people have access to her, because I need her to remain like in this queendom she's creating. I can't even explain it, but to protect my heart from all of that shit so that I'm ready to receive him when he shows up. And I just had this feeling of, I don't know, like just that once you really get it and you reconnect to your own heart and you can receive and give love truly from the heart, like you're ready for that relationship. And I don't think I'd ever been in a place where I'd fully given myself this. Like I really think over the last week, I started to understand worth like never before, like my true sense of worthiness, understanding what self-love means. Those words like you're worthy, self-love, like these are words we hear all the time, but to truly embody it and understand it is so different than trying to get there. And so just trust that when you fully have reached a place of true self-love and acceptance where you know that you love yourself, you understand your worth and your value, and you get it. Like I don't feel like I have a need for literally anything. I don't feel like I need love from someone else. I don't feel like I question my worth depending on what guy isn't interested in me. I feel like I understand that most people are not for me, literally everyone, but I feel like this next one that's coming in. And so it's like, of course, you're not going to have connections with most people. Of course, it's not going to go anywhere because it's not meant to. And like being okay with that and understanding has nothing to do with your worth. Like they could want you, but they may not be worthy themselves. And so most men are going to see themselves out when they realize that. So just remember that if you're a woman and who's single. But it really just showed me like, I get it now. And my shift is I don't need the partnership. It's like, no, I want to create that. I want to cultivate that like amazing partnership and relationship because I know the power in a man and a woman coming together and how much greater we will be with each other. But I don't need it. It's not coming from a place of need. It's coming from a place of, no, I know I want that. And it's okay to want love. It's okay to want that relationship, but it's not coming from a place of need anymore. And in the past, I needed relationships to make me feel love. I needed relationships to make me feel worthy. And when I was in relationship, it made me feel chosen and worthy, regardless of how shit the relationship was. And then eventually my worth was even lower because I went into that relationship feeling out of need, not out of a want where like I'm actually, someone messaged me the other day, was like, I love when you say whole, healthy, happy, and complete. But I, and actually someone said that too at Awaken, whoever you were, if you listen to these episodes, I love that. Thank you for coming up to me. But I truly feel it. Like I really feel whole, healthy, happy, and complete within myself. And I'm no longer like, for a little while when I was freshly single, like I had wandering eyes, like, I wonder if it's him. I wonder if it's him. I wonder if it's him. And I'm like, I'm not doing that at all. I'm not looking. Like, I believe in how powerfully magnetic I am, but also him, because I've felt his presence. It's like, I don't need to search. Our souls are going to be drawn together magnetically, however it's meant to, wherever it's meant to on this planet and this earth. I don't know. But I'm like, I can feel that pull within my heart and within his, and that I don't know how it's going to happen or where it's going to happen, but I don't need to worry about it. And I don't need to look. I don't need to be on some dating app. I don't need to do any of that. Like, I have dating apps, but like, I'm not searching. I'm like, I've already written it down, called it in, exactly what I want, exactly what he looks like. I can feel it. I can see it. And not out of a like I don't know, like, think of when you describe what you want someone to look like. Sometimes it can be out of vanity. This is different. This is a presence that I just know who he is. And I, at this point, you guys, feel like when we make eye contact, I'm going to know it immediately. Like, I literally think we're going to make eye contact and we're going to be like, there you are. And that's it. It's going to be like a knowing thing. And even though it's hard, and through these last few seasons, do you know how much I've wanted to just go back to my comfort zone, go back to my old life? This is something that I just feel like is so important, because when I'm away from where I live, I feel limitless. I feel like I could do anything. I could make as much money as I want. I can have the partner of my dreams. I can have the house of my dreams. I can have the life of my dreams. Life is just meant to be lived. Okay. I touch back down where I live, and I immediately start falling back into, oh, you don't really need to think of that big. Do you really need that partner? Like, what if you just go make it work with your husband? Like, what if, this house is good enough? What if you don't need all that? What if you don't actually need to build your business bigger? You don't need all that stuff. Like, what if, I'm not kidding you, like, the frequency here it's hard for me to fight with, whether that's the people I'm surrounded by and their own frequency and beliefs, whether it's the people that are kind of in the area that I live, whether it's the frequency of this earth, like land that I'm on here. I feel very limited when I come back to where I live in Canada. And I don't feel this way anywhere else. Like, everywhere else that I've been, I feel like the world is my oyster and I can create and have whatever I want in this world. I come back here and it's a fight to stay in that belief. So just know, wherever you live, if you find that where you feel completely limitless when you're away, and then you come home and you start falling back into your comfort zone, you have to remember that that's what ends up happening for you. And I'm kind of fighting that all the time, of realizing, like, trying to stay in that energy of where I knew I could have whatever it is that I want. So just know the frequency of where you live does matter and does impact your life. And so for me, I've just been trying to travel as much as possible, go in the sun as much as possible, and get away from here whenever I can, but also trusting that, like, this is my hermit season. It's not a season I'm meant to be in forever. And I'm just building what I can while I'm here, and trying really hard to keep the vision of what I know is possible at the forefront, even though it feels really difficult to stay in that when I come home. So, let me just see if there's anything else. Basically just to own my queendom and just be this powerful version of me. Anyways, that was kind of my journey. I feel like if you've ever been curious about plant medicine, like, make sure you do it with someone that you can really trust in a setting. I don't think it's really valuable to do it alone. Like, the music plays a part, the people play a part. Having cacao and a bunch of fresh food right after you're done is so special. So yeah, I would just say, do it with a group of trusted people. Go where they can kind of lead you through it. And I don't know if that was helpful at all, but that's what happened on my journey. I'm feeling the most peaceful, blissful I ever have. I feel really, really tired from this last week. I feel like I'm going through a lot of shifts in my body, and part of that is you've got to sleep through it. Whether you believe in this or not, again, it's probably getting a little woo-woo for some of you, but your genetic codes, like your light codes, your codes within your body, when you have a frequency shift, so let's just say you were operating out of guilt, fear, and shame majority of your life, and now you're entering the levels of peace and bliss and joy. That's like, your cells have to calibrate and catch up. So think about it like this: light and frequency shifts can be instant. It's energy. Energy moves like this. The density of our bodies takes time to catch up. And so I feel like over these last few years, my body's been going through shifts and purges and changes and things because like the literal cells in my body have to regenerate, get rid of them, and then renew with this new frequency and vibration that I feel like I'm carrying now versus what I was 3 years ago. So I'm tired. I'm feeling really tired after last week. I feel like I just want to sleep. And so I'm honoring that and I'm not pushing myself and giving myself that space to kind of rest and let my body catch up to the new changes that have happened within me energetically. And to just know that if you are in a healing journey, trust that like it's not going to be forever. Yeah, your journey of life is forever, but going really hard and heavy, you'll know when you're kind of at a place where you're like, all right, like I'm feeling really good. Like I've integrated a lot and I don't need to keep like breaking everything down and thinking that there's things that are broken and need to be fixed. Like I really feel good, like whole, healthy, happy, and complete and where I am and who I am. And this journey just showed me to trust everything I feel when I have a hit of intuition, when I have a little bit of a pull, like they've always been right. So I don't need to try to logically understand it or explain it. I just need to listen. And I feel like I finally have that trust within me where I'm not seeking answers outside myself. I'm not seeking for someone else to confirm what I'm thinking. When I get that hit, I'm just going to listen. One of those hits lately has been, I think I'm ready to sell the California house and move on from that. I have different things that are showing up in my life where I'm like, okay, I have always said that. Like when I knew it was time to sell that house, I would. Like it would show up for me and it would kind of nudge me toward that. So just know like those nudges that's your compass. Those nudges that show up for you, that's your compass through life. Listen to it, honor it. Yeah. And just trust that, like I was thinking like, is there any illusions or things that are left around me or masks that I'm wearing? And I realized that the last mask I think I was wearing was the worthiness one. And I realized it was in a breathwork one. So I'll share this a different day, but it just showed me that my worthiness thing wasn't actually ever mine. It was a learned behavior from my mom's deep feeling of unworthiness. And so because of what I watched growing up, it's almost like I took that on as a truth that was never my truth. I never struggled with feeling like I was worthy. Like I really didn't. Like even in my first relationships, it's like I just didn't know how relationships were. So I stayed way longer than I should have because I didn't understand that people don't all have pure hearts and aren't just coming from a place of love. But once I learned that, I started to understand like, oh, wait, okay, we're going to stay away from those kinds of people because that just hurts my heart and they're not ready for love. So it's like, I've really honored that. And I've dated people after my first abusive relationship. I never went back to people who treated me really shitty. Like I never did that. So it's like to think about my worth. I think for me now, it's just shifting how I don't know. I never envisioned how amazing of a person, an equal partner I should have. I guess I'll put it like this. Like I always felt like it was shallow or selfish to expect like I don't need someone to be the best looking or I don't need someone to make all that money because I felt that was shallow and selfish. Where now I'm like, no, you should expect bare minimum that the person that you're with is an equal. Equal in terms of frequency, equal in terms of the life they can live, equal in terms of beauty. Like if you're beautiful, they should be beautiful too. Like, and beauty is not just physically what you think they look like, right? Like this is how you feel about them. Like you feel they're a beautiful soul, beautiful on the outside because of what they look like on the inside, right? I don't think beauty is just, oh, they have a six pack. It's not about that. You get what I'm saying? So it's like the same way that you see beauty, equal beauty to you, what you feel is beautiful. And I was like, this is just bare minimum, but I never set that standard for myself. So it wasn't really that I didn't feel worthy. I just never actually set a standard because I thought it was selfish and shallow. And I realized that it's not. You very much should at least be dating someone who, especially when you're looking for a life partner who matches you energetically in every area of your life. So I feel like I get it now. I just get it, you guys. And if you look at the scale of consciousness, the frequencies and how you can go from like guilt, shame, fear, from courage. Like I feel like when I started and I went to Awaken a year and a half ago, it was courage. Like it took courage to go there. I was living in a state of fear. And I feel like over the last year and a half, like it's just like everyone always makes fun of like, oh yeah, Carly's always like, it's perfect. It's perfect. But I'm like, no, everything literally is perfect. Even the hard shit, it's perfect. It's all happening for you. You have to believe that. I know that and believe it within me to my core. And so that's the way that my life kind of unfolds. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm really in the state of bliss and peace, and almost like I don't feel like talking. Like it's hard for me to even energetically share things in a lesson way. Yeah, I just feel at this state of peace that I'm like, yeah, life just is and things are good and I feel good. So I don't know if this episode's going to be helpful for anybody aside from realizing that the best possible thing that you could do is there's sickness and disease everywhere, not just viruses you see in a hospital, but sickness of the mind. And the way that you can guard and protect yourself from that is by working somatically to release any of that that's within you and learning how to operate at the frequency of love and joy and doing that and reconnecting to your heart and just trusting that on that process, you're going to start to eliminate that disease from you. And that sickness that's kind of infiltrated a lot of our minds, trusting that as you get rid of that within you, it also eventually clears from your body and you're going to be a lot less susceptible to actual physical disease and ailments by doing that work of getting clear of all the sickness that's within our mind. So I hope that was helpful. I really don't know what I said. That was my journey. It was beautiful. Beautiful. I feel whole. I feel good. I feel peace. Thank you so much for listening. If you also want to share this episode, of course, that's always helpful when you share the episodes, sending it to a friend, commenting or messaging me and telling me that you loved it. Like that all means so much. If you want support reconnecting to your heart in terms of like a mind way, not just somatically, that's what I created that Empowered Feminine course for, was to actually help the people who are in their mind and they're like, what is she talking about? How do I even start this process of logically understanding some of these pieces and how you can reconnect with your body and your heart? That's what the Empowered Feminine course is, which it'll be linked in the show notes. So if you want, mind, like something that you can do that activates your mind to start to understand this a little bit better, I do have that course. And I'll be sure to plan some women's circles and get those out there to start holding space for women again, because I know how powerful that can be. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys so much for listening. And that was supposed to be 30 minutes, but you can see by the way I'm speaking, like like peace, tired, hard to articulate thoughts still. So much has shifted and changed. And this week was a lot, but it was amazing. So thank you for being here. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Whoops.